Well, g'day there traders and friends. Thanks for joining me on this Tuesday afternoon market recap. What I want to do straight away is talk about one particular stock. That stock is ALIBABA. Today it closed below our trigger of $82.36. What I'll do, I'll just zoom in on the detail and I can update you on this particular stock is doing. Very, very nice move. We saw a nice gap down on today's daily candle, a surge in sell volume, 39 million shares. It's about 3 to 4 times the average daily volume which you see on BABA. We're starting to break the IPO lows, and what's most important at this level is that although we do have some form of a lower wick on the daily candlestick, we've actually closed below the IPO lows going back to October 2014. This is a very bearish signal on this particular stock. You know my targets also to the downside on BABA. I'm going to trail my stop with the exponential moving averages. On top of that particular analysis, we also have an open gap to the downside. Now, this is very strong. Generally, what will happen is that when a stock makes such a strong gap or a big gap to the downside, even to the upside, but in this particular occasion to the downside, it sometimes likes to come back up, fill the open gap, and then continue in the downside directional move. So if you're in BABA at the moment, I'm placing my stop about $85.39 to begin with on this swing trade. I'm looking for lower lows to continue on the stock of BABA. It's just really a wait and see. What is very, very comforting to know is, again, look at that surge in sell volume, a huge daily candle forming in the way of volume taking place right at this very important pivot point on the daily chart of BABA. We can go into the other technical picture. You can see that the exponentials remain to the downside. I've spoken and referenced about that open gap window, the volume we've spoken about. Looking at the oscillating indicators, we are very oversold, but that's very good. We can remain oversold in a bearish trend and the continuation of the break lows. This is all agreeing with the overall analysis. The ADX is turned up on the bearish gap down. It's really liking this move. At the moment, I'm very much confident and comfortable in this particular trade. Again, stops placed at $85.39, just paying attention to how the candle forms during Wednesday's trading session. That's one particular stock which has made a pretty decent move so far this week. It is profitable from that Pivot Point Pro Analysis Workshop. Two other stocks which I want you to pay attention to. First stock, of course, is Caterpillar. Watch for the formation and the continuation of that Bollinger Band squeeze. I will quickly change to the Bollinger Band squeeze. You know how to trade that as per that class. Pay very close attention to Caterpillar. And secondly, very similar type of trades that I pay attention to the Halliburton stock. I know it hasn't done a whole lot over the past 3 weeks or so, but it's really setting up for a very volatile move, which we're looking at over the coming days or maybe even in the next week. So pay attention to that Halliburton stock. Just recapping some of the market moves which agree with not only the BABA setup but also the Hal and potential Caterpillar trade setups, is the fact that on the Dow Jones Industrial Average we've seen a very nice inside day candle. Now the volume isn't quite there. It's not as strong as this white candle going back to Monday's trading session, but we did retest the lows of the daily low on Monday. We did see some buying pressure, but this is the first candlestick which I said I would reference in the event that the market was giving us some pretty worrying types of reversal candlesticks. I'm not going out on a limb right now and saying that, look, the markets want to retrace, but this is definitely a slowdown type of candle in the Dow Jones Industrial Average. Please prepare yourself, tighten your stops on any long trades which you are in, because again, when I have a look at the S&P, this is also what we call a hammer candlestick. We broke below the lows of Monday, and again, although we did buy or we did base ourselves and bounce off from these lower lows intraday, it is somewhat of a warning signal to say, look, there is the potential and the likelihood that we could sort of retrace in a controlled manner. And we're going to see how that influences, of course, our top 13 individual trade list. Today, the exception was really the NASDAQ, a nice little gap down. We have a spinning top, very close to a hangman candlestick. Again, punching below the lows, bouncing off from that low support. Pretty interesting type of candlestick. We're still above the exponential moving averages on all three of these US markets. You can see right here, we're above the 10, we're above the 20, above the 50. It's still looking good, but when I bring up the oscillating indicators and I can show you just how overbought we are. I mean, on the stochastics, for instance, this measures moves between 100, positive 100, and of course negative 100. Sorry if you can't read that all too well. But when we get readings up here at 95 on the stochastics, really the law of gravity suggests that ultimately we're going to see a snap back from these overbought levels, and it's only natural to see, some form of an oscillation lower. So please pay attention to that. Not a whole lot has changed since that Pivot Point Pro Analysis Workshop. Still remaining with our perspective on the market for the week ahead, but please, just mitigate risk, tighten your stops on long trades which you're in. When I'm talking about, or what I'm referring to as trades such as Google, we've had 3 really good entries. Doesn't matter where you got in at 548, 562 or 572. All 3 of these trades are very, very profitable, but at the moment, what I'm really referring to is just managing the trade, mitigating risk, locking in profit, and just being comfortable with the moves we've seen in many of our top 13 individual trades. A lot of trades outside of this are also setting up a lot of Bollinger Band squeezes, just generally a really nice type of trading environment which we find ourselves in. Always, always, always mitigate risk. I hope I've made that very, very clear in this Tuesday afternoon market recap. I'm very excited again to see how BABA reacts. This could be, one of the greatest trades that we've had, since February 2015. We're on the precipice of something special. Will we see the follow through tomorrow? That's anyone's guess at the moment, but in all likelihood, we're either going to retest this gap and then fail, or it's just going to be a complete bottom, which we're going to see in BABA, where we just absolutely tank. So keep up to date, follow along with the stocks, have a look at the pro analysis class if you're not in it. Other than that, I'll leave this market recap, or this Tuesday afternoon market recap, as that. Thanks a lot for watching. Subscribe if you're not a subscriber to the Pivot Point Trading YouTube channel. All the best. Have a great Tuesday evening. I'll see you all Wednesday afternoon for another market recap. All the best, ladies and gentlemen. Goodbye.